My people, welcome back to your favorite You and I talk show with Louise UWACU. Tonight, we're going to teach you something that so many people in the world are scared to do. Stay tuned. All right, my people, we're here tonight with Narges NIRUMVALA.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Where is that name from? It sounds special.
Wow, I didn't expect the name question. So my first name is actually my grandmother's name. So she passed away before I was born. And my last name, Nirum, is a ballast stone. So I think in the old days, they used to use ballast stones as anchors on ships. So NIRUMVALA actually means a ballast stone merchant. So
And which language is that?
it's from India.
Aha. So you have a British accent, though?
I grew up in England.
Oh, nice.
Very observant.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here. I love how you dress. That's such a beautiful color on you. And then you have your book here with you.
Yes.
And your book is Capture the Spotlight.
Right.
What is that about?
So I called it Capture the Spotlight because it's a public speaking and presentation skills book. It's actually an Amazon Kindle bestseller. And because I believe every leader has to become comfortable stepping into the natural spotlight of leadership. There is a spotlight that shines on you. And I think particularly Canadian leaders are very humble, and they don't like to do that. They don't like to be the center of attention. They don't like to be in the spotlight. And that's what I help my clients do. So I work with executives, politicians, Fortune 500 CEOs, and I help them step into the spotlight, get used to it, and learn how to leverage it.
Nice. So you kind of help Canadians become American.
Oh my God. I don't know if that's a good thing based on what's happening right now, but I'm happy to have that analogy. I know lots of amazing Americans.
Yeah. So you yourself, you're a speaker yourself.
Yes.
So how did you start being a speaker?
Okay, so I started my business about 6 years ago. So 7 years ago, my story is I was laid off. And it came out of nowhere. It was very sudden during the recession. And I couldn't get a job. So months and months and months passed. I couldn't get a job anywhere. I mean, I couldn't get a job for minimum wage. At the time, minimum wage was $8 an hour.
Whoa.
I went door to door with my resume. I went to restaurants. I went to retail.
What were you working in?
I was a secretary in a company. And I know we don't use that word now. It's not very politically correct. So I was an administrative assistant. And one day I was chronically unemployed. I couldn't get anything.
Yeah.
And then it became so bad that I went to outside the welfare office, social assistance. I remember I had my clipboard because I needed help. And I was crying. I was so embarrassed and ashamed. I didn't go in. I got back in the car with my husband, and he said to me the words that would change my life. He said, "You have to do it yourself. If no one's going to believe in you the way I do, you have to hire yourself and prove them wrong." And honestly, that's what I did.
You have a very supportive husband. He's also
awesome.
here today
Yeah,
with you.
he is awesome.
Yeah. Is that important, an important part of being successful?
I think it is, not necessarily a husband, but I think it's so important to have people in your life. You can't do it alone. It is a team effort. So I had moral support from my parents, and my husband believed in me when I was at my lowest point. And honestly, I don't think I even believed in myself at that point. So he really lifted me up.
Wow. So how do you go from that to becoming somebody that people come to train them to know how to be so eloquent?
You know, and I wonder that myself, and I think what up-leveled me is what can up-level any man or woman. I think there are 3 areas that I really learned how to master in order to be so successful. The first one was developing a very strong personal brand and understanding how to leverage it and develop it online through social media and online marketing. The second area was, I think I had a natural instinct for entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship to me is the ability to innovate and create something from nothing, to see a problem and innovate the solution. I think I had an instinct for that, and I think anyone who learns that can rise themselves. And I think the third area was I loved communicating. So I loved writing, I loved public speaking, even though I never thought I was good at it. But I loved doing it. So the three areas I really think were branding and social media, communication skills, and entrepreneurship. They really helped me rise.
Wow. Okay, let's take a short break and then come back and keep talking about it. It's so interesting. You and I talk show with Louise UWACU. We love you, the authors, the musicians, the comedians, the entrepreneurs, and all other talented and inspiring people. Please contact info@uwacu.com to be a guest on the show. All right, my people, we're back. We're still talking to Narges. So this is so fascinating because you inspire women to...
And men.
Yes, and men. But you're a woman.
Yes.
And you took yourself from that desperate situation into something. So they call you the secret weapon.
Right.
Who are you? Whose secret weapon are you?
So my clients are primarily executives. So C-suite executives from Fortune 500 and FT 500 companies, from top BC companies and companies all over the world. I'm even hired to train leadership teams. They fly me in, all expenses paid, and then I come back. So I really love working with executives because I teach them to be vulnerable and authentic. That's the key. And it's sometimes very hard for them.
Yeah.
Because I think it's hard when you reach that higher level. It's very hard to be that vulnerable, that authentic, because that's what you need to be to really inspire.
Yeah.
They come to me because they want to be inspiring, they want to be captivating. You don't want to be just a flatline, dull executive keynote.
Yeah.
They want to be that inspiring, engaging, wow.
Uh-huh.
That's what I teach them.
This is something because throughout history, people always love people who can talk, right?
Yes.
But does every leader have to be a great speaker? Can you be a leader and not be a great speaker?
Wow, that's a great, no one's ever asked me that. I believe that at the soul and heart of great leadership is your ability to communicate your vision, your mission, to inspire, engage your team members, your internal and external clients and stakeholders. So yes, I think it's a fundamental skill. I think especially today with social media and cameras everywhere and cell phones, it's impossible to truly be an engaging and inspiring leader without the ability to communicate.
Yeah, I see. So you could be one of those people then who is training politicians.
I could be, yes.
Behind the scene.
Oh, yes. So you never know I'm there. You
Yeah.
just naturally see the person improve. That's why
Are you
I call
also
this
writing
weapon.
the speeches?
I am sometimes, yes, but I
So
want
you're
it to
the
be
person
their
that they will
words.
blame if they make a
Oh, God, I know. I've seen some messes out there on TV and
Yeah.
on the news. No,
Yeah.
but it's important to me that people come to me with an authentic voice. So they come to me with bullet points. They come to me with their stories. I don't make up the stories for them, but I help them uncover their own genius and their own voice. The key is that we help leaders find their voice.
I see.
So that they don't need me in the end. They learn how to uncover their voice, how to write their own speeches, and how to really feel comfortable using their voice.
So speaking is a very scary thing. A lot of people say it's maybe the top one scary
Right.
thing to do in the world.
Right.
How did you get over the fear of speaking, and how do you help people get over the fear of speaking? And why do people are people afraid of speaking anyways? Like, what is so scary about speaking?
You know, it's a great question. I don't know the why people have the fear, but I have read those studies again and again that it's the top fear, even more fear than death.
Yeah,
But-
people would rather die.
I know, right? Which is insane to me. But the first thing I have to tell you is everyone feels fear. So I feel fear, it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
And I want to dispel that myth now, that if you think you're going to hire an executive speech coach like me or take a course, join a club, and suddenly you stop feeling fear, that's not true. And you shouldn't want it to be true. Because I believe fear is our instinct. It's our fight or flight reaction. It's your body's adrenaline getting you ready. And the goal is not to run, to stand and deliver and speak. And that's what I teach my clients to do. I teach them how to turn their own internal fear into energy and fuel. Because I actually believe the people that experience less fear they have less energy on stage. You often see people that walk up on stage with anxiety. I even saw it in the political conferences we just had. And if they do a good job, it's transformed into energy and passion and fire. And that's what you want. You want that emotional roller coaster that you then give to your audience.
So this is great, because you're saying the fear is not necessarily a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing at all. It's a good thing. It's how you interpret and use your fear. And I think that's true of fear in many areas. I think it's about walking through the fear and using it, not running away from it or going around it.
So what is in your book, and who should buy your book?
So I'm obviously biased. I think it's awesome and everyone in the whole world should buy it.
Me too,
But I wrote it specifically as an entry-level point. So if it was a meal, think of it as an appetizer or an amuse-bouche to whet your appetite, to teach you fundamental basic skills that anyone can use. So I've had high school students write to me, and I've had executives write to me that they read and enjoyed the book.
Wow.
Fundamental, basic things. You can open the book anywhere, in any chapter, and read just 1 or 2 pages, and you will get a benefit out of it. That's how I wrote it.
And how long did it take you to write it?
Oh, wow. The whole process from beginning writing it to self-publishing to finishing it probably took me, honestly, a couple of years.
Yeah.
Much more painful and difficult than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
In fact, I think having a baby was easier than the book. I know that sounds insane, right? Because the baby's 9 months, the book took longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to find your own voice at the same time.
Totally. And I actually think writing is as or more important than speaking. So all of my clients actually do writing exercises to improve their speaking, because I think writing is such a fundamental skill to release your voice.
You know, that's very interesting. Like, you know, the idea of how writing is related to speaking. If you're a great writer, do you become a great speaker? If you're a great speaker, do you become a great writer?
Wow.
Is it related at all?
I think they are related. I think actually there's a third element, reading, writing, and speaking. They're interrelated. So I often think that if you do 1 or 2, you're going to improve all 3. I think they are interrelated. I love reading, I love writing, and I love speaking. And I've been able to lift all 3 up with my clients by encouraging them to do all 3.
Very interesting. All right, my people, we'll take a short break and come back and keep talking. You and I Talk Show with Louise UWACU. We love you, the authors, the musicians, the comedians, the entrepreneurs, and all other talented and inspiring people. Please contact info@uwacu.com to be a guest on the show. My people, we're here. We're still talking to Narges. She's so inspiring. Even the way you speak, you know.
Thank you.
You're really embodying your own message and your own book.
Thank
you know what I mean?
It means a lot.
So, how important is it for you to give back to the community, because you're also involved in the community?
Right.
Like, why, you know?
I'm really passionate, and I'm a champion for women and children, because I am a mom myself, and you're right, I did have to struggle so much. And I don't believe anyone should have to struggle that much. So I do volunteer for a number of not-for-profits. I'm on a board of directors for a local transition house that helps women and children fleeing domestic violence. I'm really proud of the work that I do there. And I'm on a committee for another not-for-profit. So it's so important to me to give back. And I think if you've been lucky enough to be successful, you should be trying to contribute to society, and you should find an area and a cause that you believe in, that you're really passionate about, and give back. And that's what I do. It's so important to me.
So, but you started from zero, though.
Absolute
really
zero.
had to
Rock bottom, yeah.
How does one start from zero?
Wow, I think about that often. I think about those days when I lived in my flannel pajamas, I didn't shower, and my husband was like, "Are you telling that story?" I'm like, "Yes, telling the truth." It was a lot of crying, compulsive eating, because I'd given up.
Yeah.
I'd completely given up.
Yeah.
So if there are people out there that have given up, I'm with you. Keep going. Don't give up. The key is to just take one day at a time. Find something you're really passionate about. Find something where you can contribute to society.
But how did you know that you were passionate
So the
about
first
this?
thing I did was I kept volunteering. That's one thing that I did throughout. I got my first volunteer position at the age of 7 at the Blind Centre in England. And So I kept volunteering through my unemployment. One day I went to a really awful team meeting, and it was so dysfunctional, and no one knew how to communicate, and I sat down in front of my laptop crying and eating as I usually did, and I wrote out just how I would have improved the meeting, how I would have changed the way people communicated. My husband found it and said, wow, you write so well. Send this to someone, they'll publish it. I was like, no one's going to publish the ramblings of an unemployed crying woman that lives in her pajamas. Honestly, that's what I said, word for word. And he insisted I started getting names and addresses of trade publications from the library. Didn't cost me anything. I sent it off. I got rejected, so many rejections. I followed up. I got accepted. I made $500 from my first article. And that started everything. And then they wanted an article on PowerPoint, presentation skills, communication. So I began to layer. Within 6 months, I was on the radio. Within a year, I'd been interviewed on Omni TV. And everything just took off from there.
Yes.
From that one article, that one moment where I felt compelled to share how I felt in my writing.
And then you have such a huge following on social media.
Right.
How did that happen?
Well, I think the key, again, is to be yourself. I think the key to social media, it's not as complicated as people think. Be authentic, be yourself, but still have your personal boundaries. So I still have boundaries. So I share some things, I don't share others. But I'm very honest, I'm very open. It's me that people meet. It's me that tweets and Facebooks and does LinkedIn. I think if you're honest and authentic, and the key is consistent. So even if I'm busy early in the morning, I'll take a picture or I'll find some content and I'll share it. So consistency, authenticity, honesty, and I think it really helps.
Wow. And so what do you do in your other time? Do you still have any free time to do anything else?
Well, I love spending time with my family.
Sounds very busy.
I am very busy.
Do you have time for family?
So I do.
Yeah.
I love my family. So today was an example. I went very early to my office downtown in the morning. I went to an art gallery on the way to my office, and then I saw clients, then I had your interview, and I have a dinner event this evening. So each day is honestly pretty packed, but I schedule time with my family. I schedule time for volunteering. I always have to remember that that's what set me free. When I was at rock bottom, it was giving back.
Nice. So coming back to the book, you self-published. You decided to self-publish the book. Why self-publishing, and how is self-publishing a great venue for you? What can you tell people about that?
So I got an offer from a publisher, but I didn't like any of their ideas. And I'm quite a difficult person at the best of times, honestly. I'm quite a strong personality, and I didn't like it, so I thought,
I guess that's why you can teach leadership and can teach leaders, right? How would you ever be able to pull that off?
Exactly. It's hard because most of my clients are very strong people too.
Yeah.
So I decided, I did research on the different self-publishing outfits all over the world, and I chose one that worked for me. And I think that's a good way to start for people. I already had an idea what the book would be about. So I started doing research on self-publishing. I started writing and compiling it, structuring it. That's very key. You want to write, you want to structure, you want to really have a vision for your book. And then find a self-publisher you can work with. Have a budget, because it was more difficult and more expensive than I ever imagined. And have a reason for writing the book. So I wanted to share my message with the world. I wanted to help people. I also wanted it to be something that would open doors, and it's definitely done that. So have a clear idea of what you want to accomplish. Do research, write, and structure your content.
And then how do you get your book to be a bestseller on Amazon? Because so many people write and then, you know.
Right, so there's two ways, really. One is you orchestrate it.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone about this earlier. You orchestrate the bestseller campaign. I didn't do that. Honestly, I'm too lazy. I could have done it. I was like, there's no way I'm doing this. So I actually published 2.5 years ago, and it only recently became a bestseller because I do so much to self-promote now. So from my social media, which I do on all platforms daily, to I write articles. I'm actually a promoted writer through the LinkedIn Leadership and Management channel and the Professional Women channel. They promote my writing. So I write content on a regular basis to promote myself. I speak at a lot of events because I'm a paid professional speaker. So when you layer together all the different things that I do, I work very hard on self-promotion, promoting my book, promoting my company. There's no secret to it. I really think it's about consistency, finding your passion and hard work, really hard work.
All right, let's take a chill break, and it's about hard work, my people. You and I Talk Show with Louise UWACU. We love you, the authors, the musicians, the comedians, the entrepreneurs, and all other talented and inspiring people. Please contact info@uwacu.com to be a guest on the show. All right, my people, we're back with Narges NIRUMVALA.
Good job.
Yes. So, what does the future look like for you? And then what would you tell someone who is starting out and they are dreaming maybe to become like you one day, or maybe they want to take a class from you? Yeah.
So that's a great question. First, I would say that I love what I do. I feel so blessed every single day to get paid to do something that doesn't feel like work. So I want to keep doing this forever. I really hope I have that opportunity. Just keep improving, fine-tuning my craft. I believe in excellence, so I work really hard to get better at what I do every day and keep reading. I take courses. I would say to someone, don't wait as long as I did. You know, people often ask me what qualifies you to do what I do, and I say I had an advanced degree in fear and procrastination. Honestly, I was the biggest procrastinator in the whole world.
Yeah.
I was so afraid of everything my whole life. Don't be like that. You know, if you have a dream, go after it. You will fail. You will make mistakes. But you know what?
I like how you say that. You will fail.
Just keep going. You'll get closer to accomplishing your dream. Don't wait as long as I did. I would say just keep going forward. Try your very best, and don't underestimate the power of hard work and grit.
What is it that gave you that self-confidence? Because it's a self-confidence issue, right? At some point you have to develop that self-confidence and be...
I believe I think it was my parents. I really do. I have amazing parents who've always given me moral support. And my father's an entrepreneur, and I get that gene from him. I truly think that they helped me believe in myself, and that helps. You're absolutely right, self-confidence. And you know what else it is? It's what I talked about a minute ago. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of action. The one thing that builds self-confidence is action. Take action and know that in my life, for example, 99 times out of 100, I probably fail. People say no. You know what? I keep going, because that one time, that one opportunity is going to be the one that changes your life.
One opportunity is all you need.
That's all you need to change your life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you have any favorite clients that you would like to have?
Wow. That's a big question. I have to admit that I've had them in my mind, and I've had a lot of them come into my life, so I'm very lucky. I would love to have worked with the Democratic and Republican speakers, because I just watched all the speeches.
Yes, you must have comments.
I watch them every year.
Yeah.
And I saw good ones on the right side and good ones on the left side. And I would love to work with some of those politicians in America, because I find that political system so juicy and exciting.
So who's your favorite political speaker right now?
Well, I don't think she's my favorite speaker, but I'm a huge Hillary Clinton fan. I'm definitely #I'm with her.
Okay.
I have to admit that. I admit that freely. But I don't think her speech, and don't shoot me for saying this, I don't think her speech was the best speech I heard. But she said everything she had to say to achieve her objective, and sometimes that's the most important thing. Your speech doesn't have to be the best speech at a conference, but does it achieve the objectives it has to? And that's important.
So is it different if you're training a woman versus if you're training a man?
Yes,
you know,
totally
female
different.
versus male
it is.
element.
And I find different mistakes made with body language, with gestures. I find women, not all women, I'm generalizing here, but I find that women find it sometimes more difficult to be vulnerable on stage, to be emotional. They've put that aside for so long to climb up. And then I tell them, okay, you're on stage, this is it. The guard needs to come down, you need to tap into your emotion. You need to show us who you really are. Women find that sometimes much more difficult to do than men.
I see. I think I can suspect why, because when you're trying to be a strong woman, I mean,
Right.
and then let's say if you cry, usually it's like, oh, crying is for little girls,
Right.
you know? So how are you going to be a grown woman,
Right.
and then doing the crying? Then they're going to call you a little girl. Because, I mean, you
But there's
have
a balance,
yeah.
right? You need to find a balance between logic, structure, and emotion. And that's what makes a truly
Logic,
effervescent and exciting
structure,
speech.
and emotion.
Yeah, you balance it. That's why you work with someone like me, because we balance it in the words when we write the speech. We balance it through your gestures and through your voice. Your voice is an instrument. You learn how to use it to express the emotions when you need to express them.
So do you have preference between men and women?
No, I love working with people. My preference is to work with people who are committed to progress and to excellence, and who are not afraid to step into the fire and really take themselves to the next level. That's my
Nice.
preference.
Is there an age limit? Like,
No, I have
at what
clients
age?
I've had top-notch tech CEOs who are like 18, 19, all the way up to 60s executives, the whole range in between. Very diverse group.
Nice. So yours is executive speak.
Yes,
Can you
executive
tell
speak,
people how
coaching international.
expensive you are?
Oh, wow. I am really expensive. I am, honestly, but I am the best.
Yeah.
I'm in the top 100 leadership experts to follow in the world on Twitter. I'm in the top 100 personal branding experts to follow on Twitter in the world. I'm an Amazon best-selling author, and I'm not afraid of talking about how good I am. I think sometimes as women, we don't own our power.
Yeah.
I own it,
Yeah.
and I'm worth it.
Nice. So what is the minimum budget that somebody should have when they
wow.
invite you to speak?
Well, probably the minimum budget is buying the book. Right. Because it's only a couple of bucks on Kindle.
Yeah.
And that's why it did so well on Kindle.
Yeah.
Buy the book,
Yeah.
and it will take you to another level right away.
Yeah.
It really will. It'll help you immediately. For like $4, it'll help you improve the way you speak, and it'll be totally worth it.
Yeah. And then for the big companies that can afford it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm brought in to train a whole range of people in a completely different country.
All right. Well, Narges, thank you so much.
Thank you
It's
so much.
Short, but I really love it. I love your voice.
Thank
and
you.
You're living your message. I love that.
Thank you.
All right, my people. Stay tuned for another episode. Thank you for being here.